Get on the mic. Audience, applaud for Brent.
I like how your sweater matches your shoes.
By coincidence.
Lies.
It's true.
It's fresh.
It's so true before my thing. You're important people here. He's a mind racing. He's a razor raging across cravings he cannot control, killed in cold blood. He was bold and bashful. Traced in his chalk, he is true to his talk, half full of the awareness his mind fights or takes flight. He wears wings inside boxing rings, just in case there is a jab he cannot dodge, or an uppercut he cannot bob and weave his way out of. He is a house of cards with only 51 in the set, incomplete. He is kept quiet in his crumbling castle, bold and bashful. He is baffled as to where his ace went. This missing card is holding his heart hostage in a basement where leaky faucets are freezing his poker face. He is a cold case. He cannot crack the ace. The ace he lacks is shackled in ours. The day he last shuffled his cards and a tornado cost him his home, tossed him and his dog Toto to a golden brick road that broke both their backbones. And for them, hard landings don't always make you tougher. Sometimes they keep you up at night under the covers, carrying conversations with razors, not wanting to say amen because you ain't willing to risk it. Not ready to end it, a living contradiction, forsaken and forgiven. He is offended the infinite. He is hidden like impotent pimps. He is limp like love letters that can't get written. He is remnants of what he was, not close to what he wanted to become when he was young. He is a man among demons and dungeons. He knows angels are above him, but his neck is stuck and staring at the mud he's in. He can't look up.
Come on, baby.
He is the mud he sees. He's the dirt and weeds that keep the garden from growing, the house of cards that keeps falling and folding on the floor that's so hard. It's hard not to hate it. It's hard not to hate him when he is the cage that keeps himself enslaved. And instead of bringing his blade, he bathes in the safety of his slavery. He loves and hates the comfort of his cage that is catering to his cravings. He is crazy. He's a mind racing. He's a mind racing. Like razors raging across cravings he'll never control. He was killed in cold blood. He was bold and bashful. He was flesh and blood and bowels and bones. And somewhere there's bound to be a soul stashed in the cellar of a home he hopes has not been sold to the lowest bidder. He hopes his soul's vigor prevents him from growing bitter.
Come on, baby.
He's come too far from the ending. He's come too far from the beginning. He's far too close to the ending to call himself a quitter. And coming up is my brethren, Soul Center. Coming from Wisconsin, New York City, North Carolina, California, DC. This man is a travel man. Korim.
Woo!
I've been hearing about you for like six months.
That was beautiful, baby.
It's good to be back home. It's really good to be back home.
It's good to have you home.
It's been a crazy year, but let me just read a poem out of here.
Should have been ready.
That one.
I got it. Alright, so. Rose rose herself, so Rose knows herself. Rose is beautiful. Been ripped from dictionaries like definition, like purpose, an attitude and a sack or two. Rose, a word that's perfect. Rose knows that pertinent sermon. Rose knows Rose with those palm pews like the hobbling hot flash limping up her nose. Rose hit a few roses. Noses lost as Moses can't smell roses. Rose chose this, scratched and smoked as hell. Never need no help. Rose herself, so Rose herself. Rose has red hair. Used to have freckles before her skin folded and they sunk in the creases. Rose's mother was just starting as a freshman thesis. A crumbling college of a woman with a stuttering student too stubborn to speak, ever be weak. A teach strung out and left to dry like laundry, like clothes. Rose remembers the day. Rose remembers exactly the way everything happened. Remembers the goodbyes, absence. Thinks of these things when the need brings a splintering racket of Rose withering, of Rose whimpering. Have a sickly secret scream in Rose's dreams. Rose dreams. Rose does and becomes these things. Rose is human. Rose needs to bleed and Rose bleeds and needs. Rose's knees done been her feet, done been used to the street. Rose grew from concrete like poetry. Rose ain't never wrote no poetry, but Rose's palms are poems. Those slithering tracks in her arms are songs. I know them and they sound like experience. Rose's face is flawless as fearing it's pure as poison. Rose knows those thorns and noises, those chastising choices. Rose had choices, but Rose had voices and vices as virgin to victory as ISIS. Rose knows defeat, but Rose is no crisis, no crippling crack pipes or low lightest. Rose and crack ain't cheap. Rose is priceless. Rose is food at times like life is. Rose ain't those demons on her shelf. See, Rose herself. See, so Rose knows herself, knows the shortness of night, like the shortness of life, the skinny in her stature, the stems of limbs she stands on. Rose grows red hair like red devils, grows red hair like rose petals. Rose petals for future for the lucid, been kinda in control of a movement and kinda feels like useless. Rose ain't useless. Rose is beautiful and she'll prove it. I know Rose ain't never passed the test before. Rose ain't never been yes, but Rose for damn sure ain't no. Rose taught herself how to grow, and I know Rose knows. See, Rose knows herself, cause Rose herself.